The humid air is thick with the scent of salt and jungle. Waves crash gently against the shore as the sun dips below the horizon, casting an amber glow over John McAfee's beachfront compound. Inside, the self-proclaimed cybersecurity pioneer is pacing barefoot across his veranda, a tumbler of whiskey in one hand and a loaded pistol in the other. His mind is racing, paranoia clawing at his thoughts. He hasn't slept in days. The Belizean authorities are watching him. He can feel it. He knows they're coming. And if there's one thing John McAfee has always done, it's stay one step ahead. Long before the paranoia, before the headlines, before the fugitive lifestyle, John McAfee was a different man. In the bustling tech boom of the 1980s, he was a visionary, a software engineer with a knack for seeing the future before anyone else. Working at Lockheed Martin, he encountered one of the earliest known computer viruses, and in that moment, an idea struck him. What if he could create software that acted like a vaccine against these digital threats? McAfee Antivirus was born. The timing was perfect. As personal computers flooded homes and offices, the fear of cyber threats grew. His company skyrocketed, and in just a few years, McAfee became a multi-millionaire. He was hailed as a pioneer, a genius who saw the dangers of the digital age before anyone else. But John was never meant to be a corporate man. The boardrooms, the suits, the never-ending meetings, it wasn't him. In 1994, with millions in his bank account, he sold his stake in McAfee Associates and walked away. The world thought he was retiring. John McAfee had other plans. For a while, McAfee lived a life of luxury, bouncing between mansions, indulging in extreme sports, and dabbling in yoga and spiritualism. But he wasn't one to sit still. He poured money into questionable ventures, herbal antibiotics, unproven medical theories, even an attempt to create a new internet. Each project was more erratic than the last, and many failed spectacularly. Yet his charisma and reputation still drew investors eager to be a part of whatever McAfee cooked up next. Then came Belize. In 2008, McAfee relocated to the Central American paradise, buying an estate on the island of Ambergris Key. To outsiders, it looked like the ultimate billionaire retreat, but inside the compound, reality was far stranger. McAfee had surrounded himself with bodyguards armed to the teeth, claiming he was preparing for a coming global collapse. He experimented with drugs, created a private militia, and allegedly dabbled in the darker side of Belize's underworld. Locals whispered about his growing paranoia, his increasing obsession with security, and his unpredictable, often erratic behavior. Then, in November 2012, everything changed. Gregory Fall, McAfee's neighbor and a respected American expatriate, was found dead with a gunshot wound to the head. The Belizean authorities quickly named McAfee a person of interest. Rather than cooperate, he did what only John McAfee would do. He ran. Hiding in the jungles of Belize, he dyed his hair, disguised himself as a beggar, and evaded capture for weeks. In a bizarre turn, he contacted journalists, inviting them to document his life on the run. He claimed the Belizean government was out to kill him, that he was being framed, that shadowy forces wanted him silenced. To some, he was a paranoid madman. To others, he was a digital age folk hero fighting against a corrupt system. After weeks of evading capture, McAfee resurfaced in Guatemala, where he was eventually arrested for illegally entering the country. In a desperate move to avoid deportation back to Belize, he faked a heart attack in detention. It worked. While Guatemalan authorities hesitated, his lawyers secured his extradition to the US. Back on US soil, McAfee became something of an internet legend. He capitalized on his outlaw persona, appearing in bizarre interviews, launching failed presidential campaigns twice, and continuing to warn about government surveillance, cybersecurity threats, and the dangers of centralized banking. At one point, he released a viral video titled "How to Uninstall McAfee Antivirus," in which he, surrounded by women and drugs, jokingly demonstrated how to remove his own software while simultaneously mocking his critics. He embraced his reputation as a tech outlaw, claiming to be targeted by intelligence agencies and boasting about his ability to elude authorities. But while McAfee enjoyed the chaos, the law was catching up. As cryptocurrency exploded, McAfee saw another opportunity. He positioned himself as a blockchain guru, promoting new coins and ICOs, initial coin offerings, to his massive following. But the SEC wasn't amused. In 2020, US authorities charged him with fraud, accusing him of running a pump-and-dump scheme that made him millions. Once again, McAfee fled. This time he landed in Spain, living on his yacht, evading extradition as long as he could. But in October 2020, he was arrested by Spanish authorities at the request of the US government. For months, he fought extradition, but the walls were closing in. On June 23, 2021, just hours after Spanish authorities approved his extradition, John McAfee was found dead in his prison cell. Official reports ruled it a suicide, but true to McAfee's legacy, speculation ran wild. Was it really suicide? Was he silenced? Had he faked his death and escaped once again? McAfee himself had once tweeted, "If I die like Epstein, it wasn't suicide."